Welcome back to Mindful Minecraft. I'm Andrew, and this is All the Mods 10, Episode 2. Here at the Mindful Manor, we should take a stroll and talk about what we covered last episode, and then I think we should come up with a game plan for today. We made mention of Farmer's Delight, and although in prior versions Create has been integrated with a special machine, we don't actually have that Create add-on yet. Instead, today we're going to start by harvesting Farmer's Delight ingredients, but our main focus is going to be automating a single food source with Create. After we learn how to do that, we will have a better understanding of how to do this later on with more complex recipes. Last episode, we really dove into Create head first, and although we covered the basic machines, we didn't show a few that we're going to need today. We're even going to get into fluid logistics using Create. Some of our processes require water and milk. As we've been walking through the Mindful Manor, I'm sure you see a lot going on, and I'm happy to explain that a little bit. I started building and I couldn't stop. Seriously, I had a vision of what I wanted our starting area to look like, and I didn't want to lose that vision. We've got a few mechanical mixers and mechanical presses in our warehouse over there, but we are going to need a much more substantial amount of power to accomplish our farming and processing goals for the day. Let's wait until we finish our first farm, then we'll work on that. Let's go ahead and jump right in and go over our plan for our first produce farm. We need a few more components for today's task, starting with another machine. We have to make some mechanical harvesters, and these work like the mechanical saws on our tree farm, but they harvest and replant our crops. We're going to use these to make a kelp farm because we need a lot of kelp, and I mean a lot. Dried kelp is a main ingredient for our mechanical belts, funnels, tunnels, etc. We're also going to be crafting some new components to make this work. So let's start at the top with a material list. We're going to need one water wheel, one mechanical bearing, one chute, 3 radial chassis, 7 linear chassis, 1 barrel, 2 portable storage interfaces, and then we're going to need some new components, and those are 1 clutch. This requires 1 redstone dust, 1 andesite casing, and 1 shaft. We're going to need 3 radial chassis. This just cost 3 logs and 2 andesite alloys. We're going to need 4 mechanical harvesters. This is going to cost 4 andesite alloys, 2 iron sheets, and 1 andesite casing. And then we're going to need 2 redstone links. Now for a stack of 2, we need 1 transmitter, which is going to cost us 1 lightning rod, 3 copper plates, 1 redstone dust, and then 1 andesite casing. Then we're just going to need 1 bucket of water and a lever. Now, let's talk about our new components before we do anything else. I've got a little demo set up here. This is basically just going to be a demonstration of how our farm is going to move and then how we will turn it on or off. I just want us to understand each machine and component on its own and how these things, when put together, become much more powerful and complex. Let's start with our clutch and our redstone links. These will let us make a closed circuit that we can control with a lever. If we place a water wheel down and then our clutch on top and the mechanical bearing above that, just to demonstrate, this clutch will allow the pass-through of rotational force until a redstone signal is applied. So how can we add a redstone signal to this? Any normal vanilla method works, but we're going to step this up and allow ourselves a remote switch using the redstone links. The redstone link works like this. Redstone links transfer redstone signal across long distances, keeping their redstone signal strength. When powered, a sending link causes receiving redstone links with matching frequencies to emit redstone. The signal strength is kept. Receivers will output the strongest redstone strength received from sending links. The redstone link also has a default state of off. The frequency can be changed by right-clicking the link slots with an item or block. Assign an item or block to at least one of the two frequency slots, and the redstone link will only send or receive signals to or from links with the matching frequency slots. To toggle the redstone link between sending and receiving a signal, sneak and right-click it or right-click with a wrench. A receiving redstone link has a signal dish on the antenna. These also have a range of about 256 blocks, and they don't have to be within line of sight. Now we can turn our mechanical bearing and the contraption attached on with the flick of a lever. But we've still got components to go through before we can comfortably build this farm. Next up, the radial chassis. Unlike the linear chassis, the radial chassis connects to a radius of blocks around it rather than a straight line of blocks. This can be unwieldy if there are blocks nearby. One would rather not connect to the contraption. The radius of affected blocks can be changed per chassis with a wrench. You can hold control to scroll every connected chassis. If we don't change this radius on our farm, it'll pick the whole thing up and spin all the blocks, and it becomes a big mess. Now we've got a better understanding of how these parts and pieces work together. So let's go set up our farm. I really like this spot and I want to build this above ground, so let me set this up and build a cool platform for our new kelp farm. I'll be back with you after the build. What do y'all think of this? I think it makes it look a little more interesting since we can see everything moving through this glass. With the theatrics out of the way, let's set this up. Down here, we've got our mechanical bearing sitting on top of our water wheel, our clutch, and then we put a redstone link down there and it's already set to the frequency. We'll go ahead and just place these three radial chassis on top, and then we're going to go ahead and extend our linear chassis out all the way to the edge of the glass. Now we just need to glue these together, and we only have to do the one linear chassis touching the radial chassis, and that's it. Then I'm going to go ahead and put my glue in my offhand, and we'll place our mechanical harvesters. When you do this, it auto glues, so you don't have to worry about selecting. Now let's go ahead and just pop our barrel right on top here. And we're ready to put our kelp in. Oop, don't glue your kelp down. Make sure to take that out of your offhand. Need air. I'm going to go ahead and fill this out real quick. I'll meet you back outside where we're going to put our portable storage interface. Now, go ahead and just place your portable storage interface on there. And with the glue in our offhand, it should auto glue on there, so we don't have to worry about that. And then I'm going to go ahead and just break that trap door there. I just had that hole in the water in. If we flick that on, now it's miraculously gonna work. I honestly think I might just put a trapdoor on this anyways, just to keep that water flowing out. I'd be interested to know if this connects to the external portable storage interface through a block, because then I wouldn't have to worry about that. So outside here, I went ahead and I put a trapdoor, and you can see we're already collecting some kelp. But on the inside, I placed one too many harvesters, and so those interior kelp are just growing and not getting harvested. I went ahead and I moved this little storage thing one block out. But let me just show you. We might be able to get a better shot here. You can see that it just kind of spins right through it, and it's the same reason why we didn't put an extra mechanical saw on those like inner two blocks on the tree farm. I went ahead and set up a second farm, except this one is on ground level so that it can harvest our wheat and our sweet berries. This farm is dedicated to our first new food. We made sweet berry cookies with these. As you can see here, we've got wheat and sweet berries. If I was to go turn this on, I put our levers inside. If I was to go turn these on, you'd be able to see this thing moving. Let's turn that on. Here it goes. It's harvesting. Right now it's depoting, but it's gonna come through here, knock all this out for us. Now, one thing to note with these, actually, if you're looking at sweetberry bushes, manually you can harvest these at 67%, but Create actually codes these as unharvestable until they reach mature. And that way you get maximum berries out of them. So keep that in mind if you're doing anything with berries. I know Ars Nova is in here, and we're going to get in this later, but it only harvests source berries once they're fully mature as well. I think it just treats all berries and fruiting plants that way. So just a heads up for you. We've got a few ingredients to craft our first meal, but we still need a way to sort our items out and transport them. This is just going to be a demonstration on how to use functional storage in order to access and transport our materials over distance without having to run pipes or belts. We're going to use a special block from functional storage as a remote access point, along with brass funnels and belts to process our ingredients from the storage access. Now, let's start with functional storage. Go ahead and grab a few stacks of logs, 2 brass funnels, and 2 andesite funnels. We need to craft some functional storage drawers, and then we need to set them up. Then we need to make 2 special tools from the functional storage mod and a storage controller. Let's craft up some storage drawers. Let's make 8 to start. Go ahead and craft 8 chests and then surround those with planks. This will give us 8 storage drawers. Let's place this down and talk about it. Each drawer with a single slot will hold 32 stacks of one item. This can be upgraded 4 times multiplicatively by 8 by using copper upgrades. These are fairly cheap if you use copper, so just know, keep copper on hand for these specifically. Let's go ahead and put some sticks in this drawer. We can see it's maxed out, and that's fine. Now we need a way to lock this so that it remembers to always have sticks go to this drawer, even if the drawer is empty. We need to make a configurator tool. This will cost us 5 paper, 2 gold ingots, 1 emerald, and 1 drawer of any kind. This has a few different configuration modes to scroll through. These drawers are so customizable, it's crazy. If we sneak and right click with this in our hand, it cycles through multiple modes, but the one we care about right now is locking. Now we can lock the drawer we placed, and it's going to give this drawer memory, and that is such a useful feature since we can use these to filter the input of our processes without having to use brass funnels for that. Now we're ready to link this up to a central storage access point. Let's craft the functional storage controller. This is going to cost us 2 blocks of quartz, 4 stone of any kind, 2 drawers of any kind, and 1 redstone comparator. And when we place this, it won't do anything quite yet. We're going to need a linking tool, and this is going to cost us 5 paper, 2 gold ingots, 1 diamond, and 1 drawer of any kind. This is going to allow us to link any drawers within the controller's specific radius wirelessly to the controller itself. If we hold this in our hand, we can right click on the storage controller to bind the linking tool to this controller. And now we can right click on our drawer with the sticks and it's linked. If we look over at our storage controller now, we can see there's sticks available. Think of this controller like a catalog of all the connected inventories. When we hold this linking tool, we can also see the outline of the radius that is able to be linked within, along with linked drawers. Just like the drawer's storage upgrade, we can upgrade the radius of the storage controller the same way. It multiplies by 2 per copper upgrade, and that stacks on the last value just like the storage drawer. Fully maxed out using the lowest tier of copper upgrades makes this radius huge. It's more than enough for what we've got here, and that's what I've got on my storage controller that I already linked up. This can get super complex the more we play with it, but let's stay on track. Now we can use this storage controller to import and export stacks of items, and they will be auto sorted and go to their respective drawers. But we're gonna go ahead and make that special block we talked about earlier, the controller access point. This is basically the same exact recipe as the storage controller, but this one is going to be a redstone repeater, instead of a redstone comparator. These are going to be our nodes to import our individual farms and export our materials to our production lines. Let's link this controller access point to our storage controller over here, and we'll go ahead and take half of our sticks out of the drawer we placed, and we'll just keep these in our inventory for a second. Now let's take our andesite funnel and sneak place it onto the controller access point. Hypothetically, this is linked to our tree farm, and the sticks are being put into our storage from across the base. Go ahead and toss your sticks in front of the funnel and see how it will suck up a whole stack at a time, and then let's look at the stick drawer as it refills. This is notably an important usage for these andesite funnels as it provides cheap and effective importing as well as filtering. So we can see that this will import remotely, but what about exports? This is where we can use our brass funnel, just right click the side you want to export from and set a filter of sticks. You can see this start exporting sticks as long as it's able to. This is super helpful for us because it just reduces TPS lag from transporting while using long conveyors and having thousands of entities traveling across all of our chunks. We're still going to use frog ports, the new stock tickers, chain conveyors, and all that, but the storage they pull from is going to be these controller access points. I'm a big control freak when it comes to storage. Any of my friends that I've played on servers with will tell you that I keep the storage tight and organized because it's so easy to lose track and make a big mess when you're automating later on. It's imperative that we use every ounce of discipline to organize early on. Now, I've never used integrated dynamics past making a storage terminal, and I'd like to show you how we can create an access point for ourselves to craft from and pull out of our entire storage system. But this time, we might set up some auto crafts for our frequent crafts that we need for create. I feel like we have a better understanding of these drawers and how to configure them, so what if we made it so we could access them all from one spot? Once we finish this project, we'll be able to begin our first produce processing project. That's going to be a very important part of the video, so make sure to stick around. We're going to make one of my favorite machines, the Encased fan. Anyhow, let's craft up our integrated dynamics components. To start, we're actually going to need to go exploring and find ourselves a mineral tree. Lucky for me, I found one and got the sapling already, but I'm going to show you a great place to find them. We just need to go into our quest book and collect a special quest reward, the Nature's Compass. When we hold this in our right hand, we can right click and a search bar and catalog of biomes pops up. Go ahead and search for Meneglin and confirm. This is going to sync up with the compass and point in the direction of the selected biome and give you a distance. This biome is one of my favorites. It looks super fairy tale-esque in my opinion, but this is where we will find a large amount of mineral trees. Let me show you. Let's chop one of these down and head home so we can get to crafting. Before we craft any components, we need to make at least 23 mineral chunks and we need 1 mineral glass. We just need to craft up a mechanical squeezer and drying basin from the integrated dynamics mod. Let's place the drying basin right here, then take the mechanical squeezer and place it facing the drying basin. There's a little channel in the bottom of the squeezer that needs to be facing the basin. Now go ahead and place a pressure plate behind the squeezer or on the side, it's up to you. Go ahead and right click the squeezer with your mineral log and you'll see it fills the squeezer up. I really like this part. We get to jump up and down on top of the squeezer to squeeze it, and then it fills the drying basin with mineral resin. This is equivalent to 1 bucket of liquid and it can be treated as such. 1000 millibuckets per log is great. Let's go ahead and reset the squeezer by backing up and landing on our pressure plate. You'll see the resin dries and it turns into crystallized mineral. When we put this in our crafting window, it breaks down into 9 mineral chunks. Next up, we need to make 1 mineral glass. All that means is we place 1 glass in the drying basin, then we squeeze a log and push the resin into the drying basin. It'll coat the glass and we're all good to go. Now we can start crafting our bulk storage system and the storage terminal from Integrated Dynamics. We're going to need 1 logic cable. To craft a stack of 3 of these, we need 6 mineral chunks, 2 sticks, and 1 redstone dust. We need 1 item interface. To craft a stack of 4 of these, we need 5 mineral chunks and 1 chest. We need 4 variable cards. To craft a stack of 20 of these, we need 1 paper and 8 mineral chunks. We need 3 output variable transformers. To craft a stack of 4 of these, we need 2 variable cards, 2 mineral chunks, and 1 piston. And then we just need 1 input variable transformer. But to craft a stack of 4 of these, we need 2 variable cards, 2 mineral chunks, and 1 sticky piston. We need 2 static light panels. To craft 1 of these, we need 3 mineral berries, 1 output variable transformer, and 1 redstone dust. Then we need 1 display panel. To craft 1 of these, we need 2 static light panels, 2 mineral berries, and 1 output variable transformer. Finally, we need to craft our storage terminal. To craft this, we need 4 glowstone dust, 1 output variable transformer, 1 input variable transformer, 1 display panel, and 1 mineral glass. To set this up, we just need to place our item interface on the storage controller, followed by a logic cable, and then our storage terminal. Just right click on the storage terminal and you've now got access to a standalone storage interface. Click on the little crafting table up top and you can now see your items and have access to a crafting table that will pull your items from storage for your craft. Keep in mind, some items have conflicts and share duplicate recipes, and unlike a regular crafting table, this specific interface doesn't allow you to cycle the recipe and choose the output. It's really my only gripe with this mod. It's also customizable and you can sort it by ID, quantity, or alphabetically. You can even change the size of the window. Another cool feature is the priority system. If we right click on the item interface, we can set the priority. And if this is connected to other storage like chests or barrels, it will automatically prioritize putting our items in their corresponding drawers until the drawers are full. The higher the number on the priority list determines which storage system is input from first. That feels so nice having a basic storage system set up. Now we don't have to go searching for all kinds of items all the time. There's still a few more drawers I'd like to show you, but we need to stay on track. We'll get to those later on. It's time for our first automated food, and that'll be the sweet rolls from Create. I hollowed out a big space underground here. This is where we'll set up our milk spout and our bread processing line. To start, we need to make some fluid logistics components from Create. We need some fluid pipes, which cost 1 copper ingot and 2 copper plates per stack of 4 pipes. Then we need some fluid tanks. These cost 2 copper plates and 1 barrel per tank. Then we need some mechanical pumps to move our milk from the tank into our spout. We'll get to the spout in a minute. First, let's set up our tanks and our pipes. These tanks make a multi-block when you use a 2x2 or 3x3 pattern, and each tank can hold 8,000 millibuckets of fluid, or 8 buckets. Let's get these built up 2x2 wide by 3 blocks tall. That's 96,000 millibuckets per big multi-block tank. Next, let's put a pipe up top here. Then let's get up top and place our first mechanical pump on top of the pipe facing into it. Then let's go ahead and extend pipes out of this pump to the edges of our tanks. I made some Kawana jars from cooking for blockheads. We'll use these for our milk production. Just go ahead and put these on top of our pipes. Next, we're going to put 4 pipes on the front of our tanks here, and then we're going to put our other mechanical pump in the center. Take out our wrench and change the direction to pump out of our tanks instead of into them. Then I'm going to put the last pipes coming out of the pump and in front of it. We need to make our spout now. This is going to require a copper casing, which is made the same way as an andesite casing, only you use a copper ingot instead of the andesite alloy. To craft the spout, we need 1 dried kelp and 1 copper casing. Now we can place this on the end of our pipe here, and we just need to power this and set up our filters. I'm going to place a cogwheel in between our 2 pumps and then extend shafts down 2 blocks. Then I'll place a water wheel below with a shaft coming up and then a clutch to connect everything. We need this so we can auto shut off our sweet roll spout when we fill our drawer up. We can see that our pumps are spinning and pulling from our jars above and filling into the left tank and the spout. Let's go ahead and place a depot down and a bucket to get a bucket of milk. Then we can just use this to filter our redstone links for the automation. Now we need a threshold switch. It requires 1 electron tube, 1 brass casing, and 1 redstone comparator. This is going to let us read an inventory and provide a redstone signal based on the storage space available. This is super useful. Then we're going to need a 1x1 drawer and a puller upgrade. To craft the puller upgrade, we need 6 stone of any kind, 1 drawer of any kind, 1 redstone dust, and 1 hopper. Now we can place our drawer right next to our depot, and then use our puller upgrade on the drawer. We have to make sure it's pulling from the left so that it gets our sweet rolls off of the depot. If we right click on it in the drawer GUI, we can change the direction it's pulling from. Let's place this on the depot. You can see it go into the drawer, which means it's working properly. Let's go ahead and take it out and then place it down. To make sure it's facing the drawer, look for the little arrow on top. It should be facing inwards. If we right click this, it opens the GUI. You'll notice it says at or above 128 items, it will turn on. Let's crank this up to 2048, which is the max number of items able to go into this drawer. I set the bottom to turn off the signal at 2044 or below, so whenever we pull a stack out, it'll restart the process and turn our clutch back off. Next up, we need to place our controller access point diagonally adjacent to the depot, and then put a brass funnel on it above the depot. We have the milk in our spout, so let's go ahead and slap some bread down really quick and make our first sweet roll. Then we can set our filter on the drawer and the brass funnel. The drawer will only pull sweet rolls. We're almost done with this half. Let's lock this drawer and controller up and then link them to our system. Let's toss our stack of bread on here and watch it work. We have packed a ton into this episode. Let's finish strong and automate our bread production. We've got wheat growing up top in our farms being harvested, but we need to process that wheat into flour, then dough, and finally bread. Let's get started with this. We're going to need 2 encased fans, which means we need 1 andesite casing, 1 shaft, and 1 propeller. To craft the propeller, we need 4 iron plates and 1 andesite alloy. We'll use one of these to wash our flour into dough and the other to cook the dough into bread. We're also going to need a millstone. This is super simple. We need 1 cogwheel, 1 andesite casing, and 1 stone of any kind. This is how we're going to grind up the wheat into flour. Now, this is why we needed all that kelp. We need to make mechanical belts, and each one requires 6 dried kelp. We're going to make 2 stacks of these just because we need them. And then we need a void upgrade and then an iron downgrade. Then we need a smart chute. The smart chute requires 1 brass plate, 1 chute, and 1 electron tube. In this order, we're going to place 1 temporary block, millstone, smart chute, another temporary block, and then our controller access point. Then we're going to remove that top temporary block and place a brass funnel, and then right click it so that it drops into the chute. Then I'm going to make sure it doesn't drop until it has exactly one stack of wheat. Then I'll filter that in the chute, and then I'll set the chute to exactly 16. Now I'm going to go ahead and link the storage controller access point, and you'll notice if you have a magnet, you need to make a demagnetization coil, and just go ahead and place it on the funnel. That'll make it so now when we walk up, we don't pick up our wheat with our magnet. You can change the size of this, but for this, we can just keep it at 3 by 3 by 3. Next up, I think we should place our shafts 3 blocks apart with one in the middle. And then we'll put our belts on top, and then we'll cover them with andesite casings. Then I'm going to put an andesite casing in the middle and a drawer in the middle. Then on our millstone, I think I'm just going to place this brass funnel here. And then put my cogwheel on the back of the millstone. And these are our encased fans. Let's go ahead and put these in the middle of each belt setup with one block in between them. I think we'll power our belts from those shafts. Let's go ahead and put these water wheels down and then clear out a space underneath. And then let's get some water. Let's power these. We need to make sure they're spinning clockwise. That way they blow. If they're spinning counterclockwise, they'll be sucking. They'll pull items towards them. Now let's use some encased chain drives. And then we'll run these back out. And I'm going to break this block here so that our water will actually flow the opposite direction. And that'll make our belt move. I'm going to go ahead and set this to exactly 16. Remove the andesite casing and place a drawer, our iron downgrade, our void upgrade, and our puller upgrade. And then we'll right click and make sure that it's pulling from the upward position. Then we'll place our seeds in here and link it up and lock it. Then I'll use an andesite tunnel on the other side. I'll set it to exactly 16 again. Place another brass funnel, a drawer, and then a andesite funnel. I'm just gonna tighten stuff up back here with andesite casings. And then let's go ahead and power this. We're gonna use a clutch just like we did on the other side. I'm gonna set that to receive, key it with bread, and then we'll put bread in our final spot back there. And we'll do the threshold switch again. We'll key that with bread. And then we'll set this exactly how we did with the other one. I'm gonna lock that and link it. And now you'll see it's pushing bread over here. And we'll just gear this up. And we're spinning. Now you'll see we got some wheat flour. We need to put water in front of this fan. And if we toss our wheat flour on here, it'll start washing. And it's going to turn into dough. Then we'll put dough on our middle one, and we'll link that one up. And now the dough is going to sit here until it has something to cook it. So we're going to use a campfire. As you can see, we're milling our wheat, turning it into flour. It's getting washed into dough, and then it's getting output as dough on the right side in front of the campfire and turned into bread. It has been one heck of an episode, and we have gotten a ton done. We got kelp automated, we got certain foods and farms automated, we actually automated our first food source using Create, which is our sweet rolls, and that's going to be super helpful heading forward. I think next episode we might advance ages. We might get into an industrial revolution. I'd like to get started with modern industrialization and immersive engineering in conjunction with Create. I actually added a Create add-on, and we'll get into that next episode, but we're going to be able to make power, turn it into stress units, and then power machines using actual power. So I really hope I was able to help you guys today and get something done. You're all great. Remember that. I'll see you next time. Peace.